You know fall is upon us when August 1st hits. Immediately, TJ Maxx and Home Goods drop their Halloween decor. But we're not talking about that today. Today, we are talking about fall fashion trends, and we're gonna break down the runway trends, and I'm gonna talk to you about what I think are some of the most wearable and the best fashion trends that you can adopt from the runways and street style into your outfits this fall season. Let's be honest, not everything you see on the runway is something that you'd wear in real life, but there are little things that we can pick out and learn and get a little inspiration from. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jessica. I make videos about fashion, lifestyle, beauty, and travel, and my fall and spring trend videos are some of my favorite to make. I research a ton to bring you guys these videos, and throughout the video, not only am I going to be sharing fall inspo, but also some really affordable pieces that you could snag if you'd like to adopt the look.
If you're about to comment, but I don't think that we should be following trends. I don't follow trends.
Good for you. This video is really more about just staying up to date and being in the know. I love just knowing what's going on. You know what I mean? Just like knowing what's going on in current events. I like knowing what's going on currently in fashion. And a lot of these things are things that you could probably adopt and sort of put your own spin on. You don't have to follow trends. This is for informational and entertainment purposes and possibly inspiration purposes only. A lot of these, I think, are things that you probably already have in your wardrobe or you could easily thrift. The first trend that we have to talk about is vibrant colors. Fall is usually really synonymous with like dark, moody colors, neutral colors. And while I feel like that's always going to be the case, that's always something that you can rock for fall. In particular, the fall and winter runways for 2025 had tons of really vibrant, saturated color, which if you've been to my channel, then you probably know that I'm really excited about that because I love fun, bright colors. Over the last few years, fashion in general has been kind of obsessed with this idea of quiet luxury, which really is like understated clothes, neutral tones, you know, camel black and 50 shades of beige. Those things aren't going anywhere, but I do love that there is more of an emphasis for really bright, bold colors for the fall and winter season, because Lord knows there are some fall and winter days where you just really need some dopamine dressing. Let's talk about a couple colors that I saw pretty consistently. Number one, a ton of purple. I would say it's kind of the standout color of the season. Purple's not really necessarily my favorite color to wear. I don't really own a ton of it, and I don't really see myself just running out and buying a bunch of purple just because it's in fashion. But some of you may be lovers of purple and rejoice at this news. From deep wine shades at TB to really juicy grape tones at Dries Van Noten, it was literally everywhere. Purple bags at Gucci, purple accent collars at Versace, purple boots at Miu Miu. I think purple may have dethroned beige as the it tone of fall. Blue, I think, also had a really major moment. I saw different, deep, beautiful shades of blue across so many different shows. I also saw a ton of green, from like really emerald green to like really light green and even like bright neon green. And for those of you who really bought into the like bright red trend that really went off last fall or the last two fall seasons, don't worry, because there was tons of red. Red is not going anywhere, which thank goodness for me, because that is my color. But don't worry, if really saturated color kind of makes you feel a little queasy, I know it's not for everyone. Blush is also a really trending color that I saw a lot of. And I feel like that's really interesting because you usually think of blush as more of like a springtime color, but I think it can really work for fall too. And what I love about blush is it really works as a neutral. It goes with so many other colors. It plays really well with other colors, and it plays really well with other neutral tones as well. I think it kind of gives that striking balance between feminine and modern. If you bought a bunch of burgundy stuff last fall, a blush and burgundy combination is beautiful for the fall. Or blush and olive green, another favorite color combination of yours truly. Another huge neutral to invest in would be chocolate brown. I saw so much brown on the runways. I probably saw more brown than I saw black, let's be honest, which was kind of surprising. I saw so many different tones and shades of brown. If you didn't know, the Pantone color of the year this year is that mocha mousse color, which is a little bit more of like a taupey-ish brown color, a little bit lighter, but there was definitely some really rich chocolate browns all the way to more creamy browns as well. Now, if you're nervous about the bright colors and you think it's too much, maybe if you want to try it out, dip your toe in with a little small accessory, maybe a shoe or a scarf or a bright bag or, you know, some bright framed sunglasses to kind of add a little pop of color to your look. Definitely pare back those bold colors if you are a little bit nervous about them with more neutral tones to sort of tone down the look of them. For an easy update, you swap out your classic black blazer for one in a statement color, just to have a little fun. Spice it up a little bit. Now, the next trend that was everywhere on so many runways was faux fur. And I'm very glad because I still have my little faux fur coat that I bought from last season that's been hanging out on this chair all summer. I never hung it up in my closet because I'm not gonna lie, my coat closet is full. But let's not get off track. But this season, faux fur wasn't just about coats, although there were tons of those. I also saw a bunch of faux fur on the trim of jackets or faux fur handbags, faux fur stoles or like scarves. What really kind of stood out to me about this trend was all the different ways that designers incorporated it into their garments. And I also really loved all the faux fur stoles that popped up. It's giving old Hollywood vibes. And here's the takeaway. You don't have to commit to a floor sweeping faux fur coat to rock this trend. I personally love a faux fur coat. I've got obviously the one on the back of my chair. And if you can see on my little mannequin back there, that pink number, oh, I cannot wait to wear that in the wintertime. So obviously I'm a fan of the trend. Definitely go for a faux fur trim on a coat rather than like a full on coat if you want something that's just a little bit more subtle. But I am here for this trend. It feels very glam and like rocker chic to me. Another trend that really isn't a trend, it's just something that comes in and out of like the focal point of fashion every couple of years, and that is plaid. Asked me to pick a print that I would associate with fall, it would absolutely be plaid. But I feel like plaid hasn't been very chic, I guess, in recent years, but it's definitely making a comeback. The runways really leaned into the versatility of the plaid print. Saw everything from like 90s grunge inspired looks to more polished like English countryside type tailoring and vibe, and everything in between. Obviously, Burberry is the leader when it comes to checks. Of course, Vivienne Westwood also showcased really fun, punky, sort of like clashing tartans. Plaid is one of those patterns that can be really fun to play with. You can go for a full-on plaid look, or you can opt to just have like little pops of it in your outfit, like having it on the liner of your trench coat where it kind of just peeks out when you walk or move in certain ways and people catch a hint of that. Or a plaid skirt is a really easy way to implement this trend. I also really love playing with multiple different plaids. So you know, maybe like 2 different clashing plaids, I think can be a really fun and eye-catching look if done correctly. And I think plaid also, if you're into print mixing, can play really well with other prints like plaid and a stripe, for instance, can work really well. Plaid and even maybe a leopard print also, I think, could be fun depending on how you style it. So there are so many options. Or, you know, you could just opt for a classic plaid scarf. That's kind of a no-brainer and a really simple way to throw a little bit of pattern into maybe an otherwise more simple outfit. Lace is another trend that I am so glad is taking center stage. It definitely went from dainty to dramatic this season. Forget the idea that lace is just for lingerie or for brides. Designers like Valentino, Elie Saab, and Dior all sent really fun and interesting lace looks down the runway, and they all felt powerful, modern, and at times romantic. Depending on the color and the style that you go for, lace pieces can have a completely different vibe depending on how they're styled. I love lace because it can add so much texture to your look, and because lace tends to be like more transparent or sheer, it can act as a really fun layering piece, either underneath things or over the top of things. So a lace semi-sheer top underneath a blazer, I think, creates a really kind of sexy but also demure look depending on how you've layered it. You could layer a slip dress underneath a lace dress to make it feel more wearable. A really easy way to do a subtle nod to this is to grab some lace tights to wear under like a mini skirt with boots for like a subtle nod to the trend. And for like a more special occasion, I think a lace dress can be a really statement making piece, especially one in like a black or a dramatic color. I'm definitely gonna be looking out for a sheer sort of lace top that I can use as like a layering shirt to wear like underneath some of my like slip dresses or more dainty summer pieces to add like a different layer and also a different sort of texture and dimension to my looks. But I also think it would be really fun to grab like a lace sheer dress to like layer over the top of things. There's really just so many different ways that you can incorporate this. Now, another trend that sort of flows from the lace trend, and I think you'll find that a lot of these trends I'm highlighting are very interchangeable with each other, but it is the sheer trend. Now, I think for the past several years when I've done trend videos, both summer and both my spring and fall videos, I feel like I'm always talking about sheer as a trend. At this point, I don't really feel like it's a trend anymore because it has been so ongoing. And every season kind of brings its own new sort of iteration for it. And I think in fall 2025, it became a little bit more polished. It's not just about like the naked dresses so much, although there were a couple shows where it was like, oh, okay, you can't wear it like that in real life. But I guess then I could appreciate the art of the, the fashion going on here. But I definitely saw a lot more layering and clever styling of the sheer pieces that I think make it a lot easier to wear for us everyday non-models on a runway people, if you know what I mean. I love about this is it just can create so many different interesting opportunities for layering. And the reason why I feel like lace kind of flows into this is because lace also tends to be a more sheer fabric. So a lot of the advice that I would give you with styling sheer also would apply to maybe some lace pieces as well. But I love a sheer blouse that you could wear kind of like a skin color piece underneath to sort of give the illusion that, there's nothing like showing, but it's not taking away from the sheerness, if that makes sense. Or finding a really cute lacy like bralette that's sort of meant to show through a shirt, however opaque it may be. And that creates, again, like a really fun and interesting and kind of sexy look, but also a little bit demure because like you are getting some coverage from like, depending on how sheer the shirt is, that your sheer like midi skirt or a sheer dress worn over jeans or like a little bodysuit with like biker shorts is a really fun and interesting look. And if you dare to bear, which I have yet to dare to do this, but to wear like something sheer with just like, a bra of whatever sort with some little boy shorts underneath. I always think that I'm going to do this in a certain situation and then I totally chicken out. So we'll see if it ever happens. I feel like my husband would just be like, I can see through everything. Maybe if I walk, a red carpet and I want to look super high fashion or whatever. I feel like that's the only way that I could ever see myself wearing that kind of a look. I digress. I'm getting off the topic here, but it can be tricky, but it also can be super easy, like finding a sheer mesh shirt and wearing it underneath a spaghetti strap slip dress, for example, to make that like a fun layering piece to make your more, summery pieces that are a little bit more lightweight, a little bit like, less sleeves going on, a little bit more wearable into the cooler months. Now, if all of these ideas just feel a little bit too much, you could also just opt for like sheer, find like pieces that have like a sheer sleeve or a sheer sort of cutout in them where it feels appropriate to you. There's definitely so many different ways to rock this trend. Another trend that's still very much going strong from the last year or two is animal print. And I feel like everybody tried to be like, leopard print is dead like a couple months ago, but I think they're wrong because I saw nothing but leopard print on the fall 2025 runways. It was everywhere. And I'm so happy about that because I love leopard print. I treat it like a neutral. It's like my favorite of the animal prints. I usually would go for a more like natural looking leopard prints. What I mean by that is the colors of the print are closer to what a leopard actually looks like. I'm not talking like neon pink or green leopard print. We're going for like that natural from the wild look. And I think that really applies to any of the other animal prints as well, keeping it within the tones of what would appear on that animal and not going for insane colors. Another animal print that I feel like I see a lot of on the runways is zebra print, which is really fun. And I think not necessarily on the runways, but in street style, I've been seeing a lot of cow print lately. There's a ton of snakeskin on the runways also. So pick your favorite animal print. You will be right on trend this fall season. I know animal print definitely isn't for everyone. Personally, I love it. But if you did want to think about dipping your toe into animal print, you could go for a bag in an animal print or maybe a pair of boots or shoes. Maybe not necessarily boots if you're just dipping your toe in because that could be a lot, but a ballet flat maybe, or a sneaker, maybe a belt. That would give you like a little small pop of it. If you're somebody who wants to embrace it fully, a leopard print coat is such a fun piece, or even some leopard print jeans. I got a pair a couple seasons ago that I really love and I still continue to wear. So if you're someone who likes to take a walk on the wild side and definitely be noticed, then rejoice because animal prints seem like they are definitely here to stay. This trend I am really into because I've been binging the second season of Wednesday on Netflix. I don't know if you guys are into that show. Drop me a comment and let me know if you are. But Gothic Romance, the sort of overall aesthetic of what you would categorize as Gothic romance I saw so much of while going through the fall 2025 runway shows. Designers definitely decided spooky season is starting early. Think dark lace, dramatic velvet, and like moody Victorian inspired silhouettes for this. Rodarte had some like insanely very gothy, dramatic looking pieces. Valentino showed a lot of lace, which again, like I said, a lot of these trends are interchangeable. We just talked about lace. You're gonna see a lot of lace being used in this sort of Gothic romance sort of vibe. Think like Morticia Adams or Wednesday Adams, but make it fashionable. Although they look fabulous in the show. Whoever does the costumes is A++. This might not be for everyone, and you guys know I love to wear color, but you know, I think it's the Gemini in me. I want to be like a different like person fashion-wise every day, I feel like, and sometimes there are those days where I just want to be dark and moody and wear the black lace and like the all black outfit and the black leather. There was a meme I saw, I'll pop it up on the screen, and it was like the desire to look like a doll, and then the Natalie Portman from Black Swan walks past in the hallway, that scene, and it's like the desire to look like a vampire. And I feel like that is my inner struggle so many times, you know? I love looking pretty and feminine, but sometimes I do want to look dark and mysterious. What can I say? To wear this in real life, I would say add in touches of white or black lace, velvet accents, maybe like velvet choker, dramatic sleeves, a dramatic Peter Pan collar in like a white with a black dress is like spot on, like Wednesday core, no brainer. You don't have to look full on like you stepped out of Hot Topic to rock this trend. I think there's definitely ways to adopt it, but I am very much inspired by this, and I just love the moodiness of it. I love the moodiness and the drama. Switching gears a bit to a different kind of trending aesthetic that I'm calling Preppy Academia. And I feel like preppy fashion has been something I've talked about in the past couple seasons that has really been coming forefront. But this year, it kind of seems like the vibe of it is sort of like what a stylish professor would wear. Think very collegiate, teacher's assistant at an Ivy League school, if everybody didn't all dress in sweatpants all the time, sort of vibe. You know what I mean? This costumey school uniform, more grown-up Ivy League chic is kind of what I'm trying to get across to you. So think plaid skirts, tailored blazers, knee-high socks, neckties, and loafers. Loafers were a huge part of this trend. I saw so many loafers on the runway, especially paired with like those dressy, thinner knee-high socks. Designers like Miu Miu and Tom Brown, of course, Tom Brown like rocked this. I'm newly very obsessed with Tom Brown, and I think it's Doechie's fault. But if you're not familiar with Tom Brown and you like cool but kind of subversive preppy looks, Tom Brown has some really good inspo and style. The way that I would rock this is like a pleated midi skirt with like a fitted blazer, or like a rugby striped skirt with maybe some trousers and some funky eyeglasses. Pencil skirts, neckties styled in interesting ways, maybe around your neck, maybe worn through your belt loops as a belt. That's something that I used to do in high school, and I think it's time to bring that back. It's kind of fun. Another thing that you could look for are very like collegiate looking sweaters. I'm talking like sweater vests or the cardigans that have that sort of varsity look to them. All of those pieces, when paired with like literally the most simple outfit, is going to give that outfit that academia sort of preppy vibe with really low effort. To make it super simple, you could always wear loafers with either knee-high socks or just little white ankle socks to give whatever outfit you wear them with that subtle nod to this sort of aesthetic. Let's talk about coat trends really quick. A couple things that I've been seeing lately in terms of outerwear. One is like these really beautiful drapey coats where the outerwear becomes the outfit, which is cool because in a lot of places, especially where it's very cold, your coat might be the only thing that people ever see of your outfit because you may never really take your coat off depending on the situation. Like soft crepe coats, fluid trench coat designs, draped layers that move with you. That scarf coat that I feel like has been really popular the last winter or so, I think will continue to be really popular if you picked one up. There is one from Quince that is such an incredible dupe for the TV one. I believe it's TV. So much cheaper and literally almost identical except for a couple little things. I'll put that down in the description box, of course, but just really nice drapey, kind of oversized outerwear. Another thing I've noticed a lot of is like leather jackets that feel really lived in and oversized, and like something that you pulled out of like your dad's closet or something. I know I've spoken so many times about loving like a classic leather moto jacket, and while I will still continue to wear mine, I think right now the more like oversized leather bomber jackets are really center stage. So if you wanted to grab a more updated leather jacket for the season and you want to invest in something, you could probably also thrift this really easily. Just go into the men's section, and I'm sure you could probably find something that's going to give you that cool slouchy street style sort of look. Another type of coat that I saw so much of that I talked about last fall, it's still going strong, is the funnel neck coat, where you've got like the coat kind of comes up around the neck. It kind of does double duty. It sort of acts like a scarf and a coat at the same time, because that funnel neck is protecting your neck, especially when it's done up like that. I love this kind of coat because I think it gives any look sort of a sporty vibe. Now let's talk really quickly about handbag trends. One bag trend that I saw all over the runways were slouchy, oversized handbags. Designers seem like they're really leaning into that like effortless, oversized, relaxed vibe, and that's really being reflected in the bags that they are putting out on the runways. I've also seen it so much in street style, and even my girl Carrie Bradshaw was rocking it in this last season of And Just Like That, which was absolutely terrible. If you want to have a conversation about that in the comments, please. I need to rant with someone about it. But the fashion was also a little questionable, but sometimes it was cute, and I really love this bag. I believe this one is from Coach. I think they showed it pretty recently. I can't remember if it's the spring or summer collection, but it's that huge oversized little snap closure clutch bag. What I love about this is it's just really wearable for everyday life. Everybody loves a bag they can throw their entire life in, and this really lends itself well to that. I've found a couple lately that I am absolutely obsessed with, including this suede one from Quince. I just got this one in and I have been using it constantly, and I think it's going to be so cute with literally so many fall outfits. Now, speaking of handbag trends, if you want to know more about what bags are sort of trending for the year 2025, well then I have the perfect video for you. I'll pop that one right up here on the screen so you can go check that one out next. Let me know in the comments which one of these trends you love, and if you hate any of them too. I want to know. Let's talk, because some of these I'm into and some of them I'm kind of like, nah. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me out so much, you have no idea. I'll see you guys over here on this video, and if not, I'll see you on the next video.